Welcome, everyone, to the Michigan International Speedway. It is time for NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, and it is also time for race number 23 of the 2010 season. That means we are a mere 4 races away from the chase, and for those on the outside looking in, time is running out. And to make things even better, we are racing in the shadows of Detroit, the Motor City. So get fired up, everyone. It is time for race day. This huge racetrack sits on 1,400 acres in the Irish Hills area of southern Michigan, and NASCAR's been here since 1969. It is wide, flat, and flat out fast, and the track is a driver favorite because you can race anywhere. Denny Hamlin was the man last time we were here, and we'll talk to him live today about his quest for a championship. Mark Martin is on the inside now of the top 12 and looking to stay there on one of his best tracks, but he is being chased by some of NASCAR's best. Last weekend was the end to a very long winless streak for Juan Pablo Montoya after battling back from adversity at Indy. Could today be the day for Juan to win on an oval? It could be, because he's coming in on a roll.
Indianapolis is where history is made and where Juan Pablo Montoya would like to write his name in the record book. But it only took one pit stop to keep his name out of it.
Somebody's gonna take 2.
Jamie McMurray takes 2. Juan Pablo Montoya, he wanted to go for 4, and that's interesting.
Well, we'll see in about 15, 20 minutes we'll know we made the right call.
Montoya, who has dominated all day, all of a sudden finds himself deep trouble with the laps running down.
Just drives like ass back here. I mean, I can't do anything. Can't do anything.
Oh, no, trouble right at the pit end.
Montoya.
Going all the way to truck is killed.
At Pocono, it was the pits again for JPM. Another win vanished right before his eyes.
4 tires, guys. 4 gas. 4. So I thought we were doing 2 tires. I said 4. We were on pit road. Did it make sense to take 4 tires? No, it didn't. You're going to count the Charlotte, and we're going to practice pit stops, pal. That's twice. I didn't move the freaking car. I revved it, but I never moved it. So you're going to blame it on me? Go screw you. Everybody just calm down. We got 30 laps of racing left. Yeah, no, don't calm down my ass. It's always the same crap.
Third time's a charm at Watkins Glen, and the 42 crew hoped this time their driver would end up in victory lane and get that elusive second Sprint Cup win.
McMurray doing a great job in fending off one of the best road racers in the world, Juan Pablo Montoya. Now Montoya steps out of line into the inner loop. New race leader, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Very nice. They're pulling away a bit.
Everybody's chasing the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya has led 53 laps.
Pit next time. Copy that. Hitting next time. Stop. Perfect. Idle up. All done pitting, pal. All done. We're done pitting. All done through food. You're pulling away, dude. Just say your stop. Last lap, you were half second faster in the field.
Nobody is challenging this man, Juan Pablo Montoya.
He's a good 2. Give me 2.5 more minutes of nice smooth 2 laps. Be sweet. There's the white flag. Nice and smooth. Got leader, got the white. Nice and smooth, 4.5 second lead. Good job, guys. Sorry about that quick again. Did an awesome job.
Juan Pablo Montoya, his second Cup win.
Come on, buddy. Good job. Wicked awesome.
The crew celebrating on pit road.
That's the way of pushing a racer. Juan, you drove the race of your career, buddy. That was tremendous. 0 mistakes.
He wins the race by well over 6 seconds.
Good job, Brian. You deserve this more than anybody else. Great job, everybody. We've been working really hard for this. That's what it's all about right here.
Well, we have a great crowd with us here at the Michigan International Speedway. We have made our way back down to the stage here. And with that, let us go inside to Hermie Sadler, who's standing by with the big winner from last week. Hermie?
You're right. Big winner, Juan Pablo Montoya. You guys finally put the whole package together last week, got to victory lane, and realized some of that potential you guys have with this 42 team. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think, yeah, it's nice to see, everybody in this Target Chevy team do so well. We've been so close so many times. Actually, to be able to close the deal was nice. I know everybody here was just dying to get a win, so it was a big relief.
Yeah, the next thing is, I talked to Brian Patty early this weekend. He said, congratulations, great win. He said, now we've got to get it done at an oval to get all the races done. How's your car this weekend, and can you make it 2 in a row?
But we'll see. We got to think a pretty decent car. There's a couple of really strong cars out there, but I think conditions are going to be a little bit different than yesterday, so hopefully it plays into our hands a little bit.
And it's been a tremendous year for Chip Ganassi, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. Tell us a little bit about what it's been like. You've been around Chip a long time to finally meet. This is a tremendous season he's having in all of motorsports.
Yeah, overall, always Chip, you look at Chip history over the years, always, wins either the 500 or the IndyCar Championship and things. I think always the wicked problem always been the NASCAR, and right now we keep getting stronger and stronger. And, I think over the next few years, I think there's going to be a lot to show from here.
What's the attitude of the team as far as making the chase? You're still about 200 points out. Just go out and try to win and see what happens?
I'm not even thinking about it. I don't, it's been a while since I've been thinking about the chase, to be honest. I think, being realistic, we're so far back that for us is, go out there and learn a lot for next year, understand, a little more aggressive calls, and hopefully it pays off.
Well, JR, this is a team that they've won one. This is the kind of team that can win a couple in a row, and don't be surprised if you see them up front here today at Michigan.
Hermie, thanks a lot. They've been so close. And now with that, let's get on your feet, Michigan, and greet our good friends Kenny Wallace and Kyle Petty.
Johnny Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen,
hello.
How are you guys?
This crowd's out of hand.
They are.
How
Great
about you?
crowd here. We always get a great crowd in Michigan, and this is such a great racetrack to come race on because the drivers love it. You can race anywhere, and it is flat out fast.
What I like about Michigan is you never know what you're going to get. Just when you say, man, I was the fastest in happy hour, I have the fastest car, and then all of a sudden we've seen Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., Greg Biffle, remember that? This is a gas mileage racetrack. Kyle, these guys run out of gas coming to the checkered flag. Will it ruin somebody's chance to get in the chase today? That is the question.
Well, we just did a deal with Montoya about mistakes, and this is a tortoise and a hare racetrack. Yeah. You can go out and blister everybody all day long, and the guy that runs 15th wins the race. And you go home and shake your head like, how did that happen?
Hey.
He just got better fuel mileage tonight. And that race can turn into this. At the same time, some of the best races we've ever had, door-to-door, Dale Jarrett,
wow.
Davey Allison, guys like that, some of the best races we've ever had have been here at Michigan.
We've seen so many times. Was it Jeremy Mayfield running in 9th spot? Was it Dale Jr. running in 16th? And all of a sudden, everybody's pitting except 2 guys. And the crew chief is saying, let off the gas, let off the gas. And boom, he wins a race, and it becomes a big race for them. But I'm really interested to see if it's going to affect the race for the chase.
There are only 4 races to go until the cutoff till we find out what 12 drivers will get to run for the 2010 championship. Let's take a look at the points because time is simply running out. And how close are we, guys? With a good run today, Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon can mathematically clinch their spot in the chase. They have to be about 560 ahead of 13th, and they could well do it today. Your big movers from last weekend, Jeff Burton up 2, and Kurt Busch was up 3.
Interesting to see Roush Racing 9th, 10th, and 11th, Kyle.
Yeah, no, and you're right. There was a lot of movement inside the top 12. Mark Martin moved into the top 12, and Clint Boyer moved out of the top 12, but only by 10 points. So there's still a lot of excitement, a lot of drama going on right there about 13th, 14th, or 15th.
So we got Jamie McMurray, 94 out, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 121 out, and Casey Kane is still within 1 race worth of points to get back in. And you say, how important is it for Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon to clinch? So what? They're probably in this thing. But it's got to let them breathe a sigh of relief because Chad Knaus has told us all week long on speed shows that we've seen him on, he has said anything can happen. We are not counting ourselves in the chase.
When you clinch a place or a spot in the playoffs, so to speak, the chase, it gives you a chance to say, hey, let's try this week. All of a sudden, hey, we're in. But then when you think it's over, let's practice, then it's like, well, we need to win 6 races because Denny Hamlin and Jimmy Johnson have won 5, and they got 50 bonus points. So I don't know if you can practice anymore like they used to a year or 2 ago.
Yeah, and I don't know that they can either, but I'm sure one thing, they'll probably try something during that 2 or 3. If those 2 guys could clinch and be in, then it gives them an opportunity in the next 3 races to experiment with spindles or brakes or different chassis setting, whatever they want to try, because they know they're in. And especially when you're looking at Jimmy Johnson, he's got those bonus points, man.
Yep.
So no matter what he does, he's not even losing a whole race if he gives up a whole race.
Jimmy Johnson needs to right the ship. He needs to go into the chase with a positive attitude. He's been wrecking out lately. He's a champion. He'll right the ship.
And remember, that group usually takes care of their mistakes before the chase happens. And once that hits, they are on the money. We got to take our first break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, but we got a huge show coming up for you. We'll talk to the guys on the inside, the guys on the outside, A.J. Allmendinger, and talk about a very special guest at the track today.
We're heading straight to the sources to get the burning questions answered. AJ rubs elbows with the Headset Brigade and tells you if the Petty 43 is primed and ready for today's showdown. Newman's outside the chase looking in, but he's had success in Michigan. He'll let us know if the power under his hood can get him checkered today and put him inside the top 12. Then, Hamlin spits game about his win here in June, and if he's already looking ahead to the chase. Race Day's got the cure for your knowledge fever, and it's more driver chatter. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by eHarmony. Are you ready to fall in love? And by Atlanta Motor Speedway. Night racing returns to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the largest Labor Day weekend celebration in the country, September 4th through the 5th.
Welcome back to Michigan, everyone. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is live in the Irish Hills area of southern Michigan. With 1 pole and 4 top 10s this season, A.J. Allmendinger has been leading the way for Richard Petty Motorsports. And for that, he has been rewarded with a new contract and a future ride at RPM. So at least A.J. knows that where he is going to race next year. Let's go to Wendy Venturini.
Good morning, Johnny. Yes, AJ's future is secure for next year, so that's a good thing. It's a reason why you have a smile on your face. How much of a relief is this for you, AJ?
I mean, it's awesome, and you know, it's funny because I really didn't think about it at the racetrack. At least I thought I didn't. And after we got to re-sign and we got to Watkins Glen last week, it was like huge relief off my shoulders. Just excited to be here at Richard Petty Motorsports and be a part of Ford Racing for a couple more years. So I think we're building great things here, and just really excited.
All right, so what does this mean for RPM for next year? Are we going to see 2 cars with the organization? Can you tell us anything, give us any insight, AJ?
I promise you I will not be the only car here. You know, I told them I'd be the lead driver somehow, and I guess everybody else left, so I became the lead driver. But no, I promise you that we'll have some great announcements coming soon. I was just excited that I was the first one to be announced and really build our future and focus on the upcoming years. And there'll be some great announcements, but just excited here. This weekend in Michigan's been a great weekend. Roger and the whole staff at MIS has just put on a great weekend. I had a lot of fun out in the infield at the Saving Abel concert last night, and went to the Best Buy store earlier this weekend and store 1429 on the race car. So we're gonna put them in victory lane, I hope.
You were one of those people at the concert. I heard it last night. You were screaming, I'm sure, one of those guys. Okay, 9 weeks ago, we raced here at Michigan. You finished 11th in the spring. How much momentum does that give you? Can you repeat it and get a top 10 today?
We hope so. It's been a struggling weekend so far. We've just really, between being a little bit tight and a little bit loose, we've been going back and forth, and this is a tough racetrack. I've never been great here. Even when we finished 11th in June, we kind of struggled. We were like a 20th place car all week and just kind of focused on getting good restarts. We got to 11th, but it's a tough place, but I'm looking forward to it. Just we're having fun here. We're excited. We're loose now. We're just all we're doing is trying to race for victory. So hopefully we can get the car in victory lane and have a good weekend all together.
My favorite thing about this racetrack is how wide it is and all the different lanes. So what does that mean for you? Which lane do you like in turns 1 and 2, 3 and 4? Because it's a crapshoot sometimes.
I haven't figured that one out yet. We've been working on it. There's times I get up top and I think I'm the man. I run up there for about 5 laps, passing all kinds of race cars. Then all of a sudden that goes away, and then I have to search for the bottom. But that's what makes this place so fun. Makes the racing so exciting, is it is so wide. It's just a tough place to race on. It's warm out. We got blue sky, so track's gonna be slick. Probably the slickest it's been all weekend. So it's gonna be a tough race, but just we'll be ready to go. I promise that.
All right, maybe the green will bring you some good luck today. AJ Allmendinger will start 16th today. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. That's great for AJ and RPM to know that at least they have that piece of the puzzle in place. And Kenny Wallace, you always say, you know, no matter what's going on with the rest of the team, you focus on your ride, but it's got to be a bit of a distraction, wondering what the shape of that team is going to be next year.
Especially when we were watching the race in July in Daytona, and all of a sudden we seen the King, Richard Petty, and A.J. Allmendinger going at it, almost arguing it and looking at each other. And you know, A.J. was saying, how dare you tell me I wrecked another car? And lo and behold, here we are, you know, a month later, and they love each other. I love that about sports, because just because you tell somebody what you think doesn't mean you don't like them, love them, or want them. Here's the case right now where the King said, hey, you wrecked another one, huh, buddy? He comes back and says, you're my driver, and sign him up for another year.
Yeah, I heard that from the King a lot. Let me just let me go ahead and say that. But here's the deal. For me, the deal with RPM is this. What's that team going to look like next year? You sign AJ on one day, and then one of your drivers leaves your stable almost 2 or 3 days later. And I know the 9 cars out there, so who are they going to put in there? But at a time when Childress and some of the other teams seem to be expanding, RPM seems to be contracting. Now, contraction is not all bad, because we saw Childress go from 4 to 3 and go from junk to championship caliber. And that's a team that's expanding again, so we're going to have to watch that. So you're just going to have to watch to see where AJ fits in and where RPM fits in to the grand scheme of Cup racing next year going in. Will they have 2? Will they have 3? Where will they be, and what will that organization look like?
That will be very interesting to see, because we expect a couple of more pieces to fall into place for that puzzle for next year within the next coming weeks. Now, there's nothing, no bigger part of the puzzle than coming to the racetrack than cooking out. There's some great amateur chefs around any racetrack, but there's also one great pro chef, and he's Nicky Morse, the racing chef.
I'm Nicky Morse, and they call me the Racing Chef. Coming up Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern, an all-new Racing Chef. Nationwide driver Trevor Bain plays the part.
Hey, can I wear this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that'd be awesome. Check this out. Now we're ready,
Hey,
man.
That's perfect.
Looking good?
That's perfect.
All right.
And these chili dogs can't be beat.
Mom, you'll be proud of me now.
I'm out in Sonoma with a fun fan named Wendy Childs. What are you gonna make today?
I'm making Brother BLT dip.
Brother? BLT? What's brother?
Brother! NASCAR! Woo! Shuck-a-muck!
She gives her take on a BLT dip you'll want to try. High society eating at St. Elmo's Steakhouse in Indy. What is so special about this place?
Well, St. Elmo's has been open for 108 years. It's a lot of history and tradition in that amount of time.
Finally, when he wasn't roaming the pits, Speed Steve Burns stopped by.
Thanks for being here. Chef Nicky, it's great to be here. I'm glad I finally made the show.
Yes! Who doesn't like a little lesson in cooking some meat?
I really enjoy the pepper and everything, all the seasoning that we put on after.
Kick off your weekend right. An all-new Racing Chef next Saturday, 7 a.m. on Speed.
Anybody hungry after seeing that? We got to take another quick break here on NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. But when we come back, one piece of another puzzle is in place, and this time it's for Red Bull Racing. We'll tell you who's racing there and what the future might look like for that team when we come back.
The Motor City didn't get its nickname from playing spectator. The D has always been front and center in the world of racing. We'll show you how Detroit put its stamp on NASCAR with a little flashback through the years. Coming at you, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Well, some racers and race fans had a great time this Thursday for MIS Cares. It was a fishing tournament held at Hayes State Park on Wampler's Lake. They caught a lot of fish, but most importantly, raised a lot of money for the group called MIS Cares, and that's just another way that NASCAR gives back to the local community. There have been 82 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races at the Michigan International Speedway since the first race in 1969. The track was known as Michigan Speedway during the time that Roger Penske was the primary owner from 96 to 99. Set in the Irish Hills, we've seen some great racing history on this track.
Think Michigan, and you might think of a place with more coastline than anywhere in the continental U.S., more golf courses than any state but Florida and California, and of course, music. But chances are, you'd think about cars too. The sweet songs of Hitsville, USA aren't the only smooth sounds emanating from Detroit. The place that gave us Stevie Wonder, Bob Seger, Alice Cooper, and Madonna also gave Americans the joy of the open road. So of course it was natural for a city whose backbone was the auto industry to get involved in the stock car racing circuit. After all, if you make the cars, shouldn't you race them as well? Motor City Muscle flexed its might, not only in showrooms, but also on racetracks across the country and across the state. While there were races held in both Monroe and Grand Rapids in the early 50s, Detroit is where Michigan left its mark on the sport.
At Detroit, part of the 250th anniversary celebration, the 250-mile automobile race.
The Motor City 250, held at a mile-long dirt track on the Michigan State Fairgrounds, began a 2-year run in 1951.
Thompson breezes in to win a new car and $5,000 first prize money.
Tommy Thompson held off Joe Eubanks to take checkered in the inaugural race and headed to Victory Lane, where Bill France Sr. himself handed out the trophy. Although successful events, the circuit left Monroe and Detroit after 1952 and raced just once more in Grand Rapids in 1954. That race was the last NASCAR sanctioned event in the state until after construction for a new track broke ground in 1967. Completed in 1968, Michigan International Speedway, located in Brooklyn, Michigan, hosted its first NASCAR race in June of 1969, won by Cale Yarborough. Although Cale took the first checkered, no one was more dominant here than David Pearson.
And the master just called checkmate.
The Silver Fox led his Ford and Mercurys to track records of 9 wins, one more than Yarborough, and 10 poles, and took special pleasure in beating the Bowties.
The best in yet, I believe. Beat a damn Chevrolet.
Roger Penske bought the Speedway in 1973 for $2 million and expanded the grandstand seats from 25,000 to 125,000. And the crowds kept coming to see some of the best racing in NASCAR. Eventually, the capacity was increased to over 130,000.
And car number 9, Bill Elliott wins.
The 80s belonged to awesome Bill Elliott, who finished the decade with 7 Michigan wins, including season sweeps in both 1985 and 1986.
And Michigan belongs to Dale Earnhardt.
Michigan International Speedway has seen legendary names such as Petty, Allison, and Earnhardt also grace Victory Lane multiple times. More recently, Mark Martin added his 5th career MIS win last season, while Denny Hamlin collected his 5th victory of 2010 here in June. If anything, this track remains a testament to the fantastic possibilities of America's fascination with the automobile. Now is in the past. Drivers love its wide corners and long straightaways, and of course, the speed. MIS is one of the fastest tracks on the circuit, with qualifying speeds routinely approaching 190 miles per hour. And most importantly, well, maybe we should just let this guy tag the piece.
This is the one track every competitor looks forward to. For racer and spectator alike, this track, more than any other track, is fun.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, it's no secret over the past couple of years, the city of Detroit has taken their lumps and they've struggled a little bit. But for these fans to still come out in force and support their sport, they deserve a big round of applause.
Yes, yes.
How about we'll give the fans a round of applause
Yeah,
here?
definitely, definitely.
You know, one thing I love about coming to Michigan, you know, I came here, I guess, in 1984, and it was when the driver won, you hardly knew what it was, because back in the day, it was like, hey, a Ford won. What do you mean a Chevrolet won? And when you left the shop in Charlotte, North Carolina, it was like, oh, man, we got to go a day early. Well, why do we have to go a day early? I got to make an appearance at Ford or Chevrolet or Dodge. So, Kyle, it seems to me like this has always been about the brand. What brand is going to win this race?
Yeah, and it has been. And I'm old. I came here in
You're not
1969.
old.
I came here in 1969 when they opened the place.
You're a baby.
I came here with the King. It was a 600-mile race then. Think about that.
Ouch.
When we watch a 400-mile race today, it was a 600-mile race. But Kenny's exactly right. This is when you come, when Pontiac wanted to win, Chevy wanted to win, Buick wanted to win, Oldsmobile, Ford, because they all marched right back over to Detroit to the factory on Monday morning, and they had bragging rights. And I think when you look at it like that, it's kind of like the teams racing in Charlotte. You have bragging rights in Charlotte if you can win the Coca-Cola 600 or the October race. When you're up here, if you win this race and you're a manufacturer, you have bragging rights until the next race.
And just an example, yesterday in the nationwide race when I was getting lapped, and we were coming down to the end, and all of a sudden I seen Brad Keselowski, a Michigan boy, leading, and all of a sudden he's running a Dodge, and then you have Carl Edwards in a Ford. I didn't look at them as drivers. I thought to myself, man, Carl Edwards is trying to get Ford its very first win in the new car for the Nationwide Series. And you know, all the Ford executives would have been in victory lane. But it ended up being a Dodge for the very first win in the new car. So it was all about the emblem yesterday.
And a little later on race day, we will talk to Michigander Brad Kozlowski about his win, about racing in front of his hometown fans. Now, here's one competition that's going pretty well right now, I'd say. Team Race Day has now taken first place in Speed Fantasy Racing competitions. Now, when we were third, we didn't want to tell you who was making these picks. But now that we're in first, I think we should let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, you're the man, John Roberts.
I'm not going to say who it is.
You're the man, John Roberts.
His initials are JR.
Call me Muhammad Ali. I'm the greatest of all time.
And here's our picks for this weekend. Greg Biffle, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Regan Smith. We think it's going to be the day for the Biff because the Cat in the Hat is back. We'll have the latest on him, and Juan Pablo could just make it 2 in a row and get that first oval win this year. So a lot still to come on this edition of NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. When we come back, we'll talk points once again, but we'll also tell you the situation at Red Bull Racing. Welcome back, everyone. NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, is coming to you live from Michigan, USA, in the Irish Hills area of Michigan, and the fans are out in force to see the stars of NASCAR do battle today, because we are now a mere 4 races away from the cutoff to the chase for the Sprint Cup. A lot of news going on off the track, about the tracks, and about a couple drivers and where they will end up next year. Let's start off with the tracks. The Rolling Hills of Kentucky will now have their Sprint Cup Series race in the 2011 schedule. Kentucky will have a date. Darrell Waltrip, Bruton Smith were on hand for the announcement. A lot of smiling faces in Kentucky because they now have their Sprint Cup Series date that they had wanted for so long. Good news for a couple other racetracks as well. Chicagoland Speedway now has the honor of starting off the 2011 chase to the Sprint Cup. They will have race number 1 in the chase next year. And also great news for the Kansas Speedway after the construction of the new casino. They now have a second date. Where that date will come from has been speculated a lot, but we will hear about that a little later on, probably this week. On to a couple of happy notes about Jack Roush. He has returned to the racetrack. He was released from the Mayo Clinic on Wednesday, returned on Friday to the racetrack to cheer up his drivers, and Jack was in great spirits. We will have more from Jack a little later on NASCAR Race Day. The future is now known for a couple of drivers. Paul Menard will now take his sponsorship of Menards to Richard Childress Racing as a 4th car in that shop, and he has a 3-year contract to race for Richard Childress. And also Casey Kane knows where he will race next year. It has been announced that Casey Kane will drive for Red Bull Racing in 2011, and he's looking forward to an interesting year.
It'll be interesting, you know, driving these different manufacturer cars each year, you know, then having a switch the following year, however that's going to work out. So it's going to be a little bit different. I look forward to it. I'm excited to work with Red Bull, and you know, they have a lot of good guys over there that I've known for a while, and also I think we can enjoy it and have some fun and win some races, and it should be a good thing. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time.
Well, definitely one good thing about it is Red Bull Racing gets a top-tier driver, an opportunity to win, and also Casey Kane has a ride for next year. Let's go to Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, thank you, JR. And spending some time with Jay Fry, general manager of Red Bull Racing. We just heard from Casey Kane, excited to come to you guys for next year. And the question would be, you know you got Casey Kane, one of the big names in this sport, very marketable, but you got him for 1 year. Why 1 year, and why is it a good risk for you guys to take him for 1 season?
Well, next year is the next year on the schedule, as we talked earlier. Earlier in the week, we used an analogy of a Brett Favre type thing. Well, you know, we need to win, and we need to win now. Obviously, to have an opportunity to get a headliner like a Casey Kane, we're very excited to have him. We're very excited to have the opportunity to do it, and we did it.
Well, now where does he fit into the plans for you guys? Obviously, right now, Scott Speed in the 82 to 83 car, you've had a couple drivers in there with the unforeseen circumstances with Brian Vickers. Where do you see Casey fitting in the operation?
Well, obviously, this all happened very quickly, so we're, you know, over the next couple months, we're going to sort through the whole program. Brian is doing great. He's going through his process of his recovery. Seems to be on course. Scott and the 82 team, we're continuing to evaluate where they're at. So at this point, we're really not sure what's going to happen. We have a lot of options. We have options to expand. We have options to do different things. So at this point, we're just evaluating the whole program.
This team last year made a tremendous run with Brian Vickers to make the chase, and everything was full bore ahead. And since then, it seems like things stalled a little bit once Brian got sick and went away. What are you guys looking for? What are you hoping to accomplish in these last 14 races to, other than Casey Kane, to try to get that momentum back that you had built going into last year?
Well, it's obviously when you build a program around a Brian Vickers and he gets, unfortunately goes out with an illness and injury, it affects the program. It affects the whole team, whole program. Unfortunately, we worked through this a couple times personally in my history with Ernie Irvin in 1998 and Jerry Nadeau in 2003. So it affects the team. The other day when we had the announcement with Casey that we told the team what was going on, it was a huge morale boost for the whole company, something to look forward to the next year. So right now we're just, over the next couple months, going to sort through our program, find out figure out what we're going to do for next year for the whole team. We'll have an exciting lineup in 2011, and we got a lot to look forward to.
And JR, I can tell you, everyone at Red Bull is all about winning, because before we came on the camera, I asked Jay Fry, I said, why Casey Kane for 1 year? He said, anybody in this garage would take a driver like Casey Kane whenever they could get him. This team wants to win, and they want to win now.
Hermie, thanks a lot. So we're looking at 3 different scenarios for Casey Kane next year. Could drive the 82, 83, or a third-team Red Bull car. And we certainly wish a speedy recovery to Brian Vickers as well. We want to see him back in Daytona. Kyle Petty, good thing or bad thing?
It's a cluster. I said it the other day. This is not good for anybody. I can't see. You're going to a team that, yes, they need to win races. I agree with that. The 83 team, 82 team, Red Bull team needs to win races. But Casey's only going to be there for a year. And my example was, it's like getting out of one marriage, going to be married to somebody else in 2 years, but in between you're going to have a girlfriend you're going to mess around with for a year or so. And that's the way this situation is. I'm sorry. It's a cluster. It's not a win for Casey. Casey's given up a year of his career to go here. He's not got any roots there. He's not got anything there. He's just driving a race car.
What was the option for Casey? What was his option?
There was no option. The option was he should have stayed his butt where he was at and stuck it out for another year until Mr. Hendrick and those guys had a place for him. Casey and those guys they started this ball rolling, and the ball rolled about 2 feet, and then it stopped. And then it was a cluster, for a lot of different people. So now we've got the Red Bull group into that group, along with the Hendrick organization, along with Richard Petty Motorsports, along with Casey, along with Brian Vickers, along with Scott Speed, and it just keeps rolling and rolling. It's a bad soap opera as far as I'm concerned.
And the reason this became a cluster is because what happens in our sport is you think, well, I've got a driver that has won races, and in the past, you would think, well, if we win races, we'll just get a sponsor. I think there was a little bit of sarcasm. We'll get Casey and anybody will sponsor him because he's a good-looking guy and he wins races. Wrong. We are in a new era where great teams, great drivers cannot get anything right now. So I think that they were caught off guard with the inability to have some new sponsor just come out of nowhere and sponsor Casey. So at the last minute, it's like, oh, no, oh, no, no. And then Red Bull, let's park him there for a little bit, and then we'll go on when Mark Martin's contract is up. And I got to tell you something. I want to say this. Mark Martin is a great race car driver. He should have won multiple championships, and Mark has felt disrespected. He has come out. Mark Martin is the one that really got hurt in this, as Kyle would say, cluster, because the media is like, Mark, why don't you get out of that car so Casey can get in? So this has really been good for Red Bull to see where their equipment's at. Negative for Mark Martin because people disrespected him. And the ability of, why can't we get a sponsor to place Casey Kane? So they went somewhere by luck because Brian Vickers got hurt. It is what it is, and it's something different. It's pretty wild.
For more on this situation, let's go back down to Hermie Sadler. Hermie?
Yeah, thanks, guys. I think it's important also to point out that I don't think Team Red Bull was the first option to put Casey somewhere. You got to remember, Rick Hendrick has a lot of affiliations with some other Chevrolet teams in the garage, and they attempted to put Casey with another Chevrolet team in the garage with support from Hendrick Motorsports. But remember, NASCAR has a policy. You can only own 4 teams, and NASCAR declined the move by Rick Hendrick to kind of put Casey at another Chevrolet team and let them provide cars and engines because they thought that would somehow be circumventing that 4-team rule. So they were somewhat put in a box above everything else, somewhat put in a box by NASCAR. They said you cannot put Casey somewhere and support him with engines and cars and technology before 2012. So some of these options were taken away from them by NASCAR.
Hermie, thanks a lot. It is still yet to be seen whether Casey Kane can win with Red Bull in the one season there, but one way the fans definitely can win is through Sunoco. You can win you a fuel can if you just do what we say. How would you like to win an official Sunoco racing fuel can? Visit speed.com Sunoco for entry details, official rules, and drawing dates. When we come back to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot, the boss at RCR will talk about his new driver, his leading driver, and his plans for a championship. Welcome back, everyone, to the Michigan International Speedway and NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. Today, we're in for 400 miles of fast racing around a racetrack that is big, flat, and flat out fast. 200 laps today will determine the winner and also could determine who gets to race for a championship. Casey Kane started out the weekend exactly how he wanted to on the pole. It's his 18th career pole and second on this big racetrack in the Irish Hills. Juan Pablo Montoya comes in on a roll after his second victory, both on a road course. And now the question is, can Juan Pablo go back-to-back and also get his first win on the oval? The battle for 12th position in the points is heating up. Mark Martin has it. Clint Boyer wants it. But looks like we got a little friendly competition going on there as the two discuss, well, whatever it is that race car drivers discuss in the car in the garage area on Friday. Denny Hamlin has an opportunity to sweep both races this season as he won earlier, putting Toyota in victory lane here in the shadow of Motor City, and he has a chance to do it once again. With that in mind, let's take a look at the championship standings and see exactly who is where as we head into racing at MIS. After 22 of the 36 races, Kevin Harvick with 2 wins is on top. Jeff Gordon 185 back, and both these drivers have a chance to mathematically lock into the chase with a good run today. Where it gets interesting is about from Carl Edwards, Tony Stewart on back to Mark Martin. Clint Boyer just 10 points out, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Casey Kane are still within 1 race worth of points to see who can make it in. But right now, Richard Childress Racing is on top of the heap with the top car, and they also have the first car out with some big news about a 4th car for next season. Let's now go to Wendy Venturini, who is standing by with the boss man. Wendy?
Well, thank you, Johnny. Yes, I'm with Richard Childress, who always has some great news for us. And the most recent one being that you guys are adding a 4th team come next year with Paul Menard. How much of a good feeling is this for RCR and the organization, knowing that you're adding so many people to the shop now?
Yeah, we'll be adding more jobs to it, to our organization. More engineering, it just gives us so much more. And to bring in a driver with Paul's talent, he has really come into it in the last couple of years. And we're just proud to have him. The drivers are excited about it. All of our team is excited about having Paul with us because he's doing a great job on the track, number one. And I've been friends with the family, with his dad for many years. We've talked about this and finally put it together. It's really cool.
Have you chosen a number yet? Do we know this?
Now, we've got some numbers, but I want Paul to be comfortable with it, too. We got several numbers we're looking at.
Oh, good. All right. Well, when we look at points, RC, we have 1st, 3rd, and 13th with Clint Boyer. So what's the key? Is the key getting Clint into that chase or getting Kevin Harvick those wins right now?
Well, all of it's important. Number one, we need to get Clint in there for General Mills, our Cheerio hamburger helper car, and we got to get that done. And these guys are all on board. Everybody wants to win. We'd love to see them all. I mean, Jeff's been there to win. All of them's been in a position to win. We just haven't capitalized on the wins this year.
I love talking to you about this topic. I mean, we have these ups and downs of our sport, RC, and right now it seems like you guys are riding this high wave. How good does it feel to walk through the garage area on race day like today?
Well, I mean, it feels great knowing that you do have a legitimate shot of winning, and I haven't seen a race team in this garage that hadn't been through what we went through last year, and we'll probably end up going through it again somewhere. You do everything you can to keep that from happening, but every team in here has had their highs and lows, and that's the part about this sport is, you're going to have peaks and valleys, and when you can look at that peak and know you're almost there is better than looking from the bottom.
It sure is. Well, thanks for joining us on race day. Of course, Johnny, the big story probably is Clint Boyer today coming into Michigan, 10 points out of 13th. That's what everyone's watching to get into the top 12.
Yeah, and with 4 races to go, Wendy, time is running out. Now, if you're a pessimist, you're going to look at Richard Childress Racing and say, when they had 4 teams, they weren't good. When they had 3 teams, they were good. Why go back to 4? But if you're the optimist, you're going to say they learned from their mistakes or whatever went wrong. Not that they made mistakes, but whatever went wrong, and they're going to improve.
There's an old saying in a speed shop. If you walk into a speed shop, there's that sign up there that says, money buys speed. How fast do you want to go? Paul Menard's father, John Menard, is one of the wealthiest people in America with the Menard outlet stores. Now, this kid has not got a fair chance in his career yet. He was with DEI, and then, we all know what happened there. They had the merging, and things kind of fell apart. So, boom, he's out of there. Then he comes with RPM, Richard Petty Motorsports, and they're absolutely in disarray right now. How many teams are we going to have? 2, 3? A month ago, we didn't know what was going on. I'm excited that Paul's father, John Menard, was able to strike a deal with Richard Childress and give this kid what he deserves. Listen, I don't care where the money comes from. I don't care if his father's wealthy or not. Paul Menard is driving the race car, and he's doing a good job.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. I'm happy for Paul Menard. I'm really happy that Paul Menard has an opportunity to go somewhere. Okay, but there's so many negatives to this deal from my standpoint. Childress goes from 4 to 3, just as Kenny says. They go from you know what to sugar, okay? Because they are great this year. That is a great cohesive team. You look at 3 drivers, you look at the teams, you look at how they work together. Those guys are trying to get Clint in as a team. Look at Paul Menard. Next year will be the 5th year. In 5 years, he's been with 4 different teams because you throw DEI in there, you got to throw Doug Yates racing, now you throw RPM, now you throw Richard Childress. You cannot become a winning driver changing teams every year. And the other thing is bringing Paul Menard into a team that's already a winning organization, and he's not a winner. Not that he can't win, but he's not a winner. Gibbs, all their drivers are winners. Roush, all their drivers are winners. Hendrick, all their drivers are winners. What does Paul Menard bring to the table for the Childress organization other than cash? He is a good driver. Not going to take that away from him. But he's yet to prove. And do you want to take a driver that's trying to prove himself when you're trying to win championships? I'm not sure about that.
Well, we will see that with a lot of other mergers and mixers we see coming up next year. We'll see if they can perform on the racetrack because that is the bottom line. We're going to take another break here, but when we come back, we'll show you how one hometown hero struck it big yesterday at Michigan. It was a doubleheader weekend here at Michigan. Nationwide Series kicking us off yesterday. That's Brad Keselowski from nearby Rochester Hills, Michigan on the pole. And joining him on the front row in that 00 car was Ryan Truex, little brother of Martin Truex. And Kenny Wallace, you had a bird's eye view for this whole race.
Yes, this was the second race for the new car. This was a very important race here. You see Michigan 3 wide, that's normal. But it was a great race to the end to see what car make would win the very first nationwide race with the new car. And this guy was just totally dominant, Kyle.
Yeah, from the time they dropped the green flag, from the time they unloaded, these 2 cars, not only Brad, but Allgaier, those guys were just incredible. And the Dodge just seemed to perform here, and that car, I love these cars.
Hey, you can tell it's a Dodge. Look at the nose.
Yeah, I know, man. The Dodge, the Ford, I love the way those 2 cars look.
Very popular win for Brad Keselowski. Carl Edwards is second in championship standings right now, 347 back, and that is about 2 full races worth of points. Kyle Busch still holding on in 18th. And how about Justin Allgaier, the first full-time Nationwide Series driver, is 4th in points right now. And you also have some other Nationwide full-timers up there running very well. Steve Wallace, Trevor Bayne, Brendan Gaughan, and Jason Leffler also in the top 10 in points as of right now, but still a lot of racing to go for the Nationwide Series as they had 23 of their 35 races done. Now let's go to Joey Logano on our Home Depot Hot Lap, and he's going to talk about that new Nationwide Series car.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano with your Home Depot Hot Lap. This week we're going to compare Nationwide cars to the Sprint Cup car. First of all, we got a splitter on the Nationwide car, which brings it a little bit closer than what we got to the Sprint Cup car now. We're going to have to really focus on keeping that thing off the racetrack, but keeping it as close as we can to the racetrack. That's one thing. Now we got a lot bigger car too, a bigger greenhouse. We got a safer car, so that's good, but that's also going to punch a lot bigger hole in the air, which is going to create for a lot of drafting when it comes to race day. The Nationwide car has a lot smaller motor, mainly because it has a tapered spacer on the car. It's killing over 200 horsepower compared to what we have in the Sprint Cup car, so that's what kills a lot of our speed over there. And you got the spoiler, which is going to add to that drag and really slows us down the straightaways. So we're not carrying as much speed down the straightaway, but we're still carrying a good amount of speed through the turn. So it's definitely a lot different than what we're used to over there on the Nationwide side. It's coming a little bit closer to the Sprint Cup car. If we had a little bit more motor, they'd probably be really close. So it's going to be interesting to see. So that's your Home Depot Hot Lap.
Joey, thanks a lot. And Kenny, for lack of a better word, those cars just look flat out cool.
Oh, the Nationwide car, they got it right. They learned from their mistakes from the COT car tomorrow in the Sprint Cup Series. Kyle, it reminds me when your dad and Cale Yarborough race, they come down the straightaway and you go, that's a Dodge, that's a Ford.
Let me ask you a question. You drive those things. How much different do they drive than the standard Nationwide car on a regular basis? When you run the Nationwide car 1 week and then you run the new car, how much different is it?
They're a lot different, but I must say that I do like the new car because everybody has the same equipment. Tech inspection is a little rough right now. Everybody's beat up, saying, oh, it costs too much money. But the driving is just fine. You know, you got that splitter. Everything is within a thousandths now. I will say that. To answer your question perfectly, everything is within a thousandths now to where we could make it a 16th on the nose of board. It's within molecular structure.
And what a better place than Michigan to talk about that brand identity coming back to these race cars. I think a lot of people around here like seeing the noses on those cars. Let's take a look at what happened in the Camping World Truck Series last night as they went back to the Lady in Black. And right now it is Todd Bodine that's just putting on a clinic.
Yeah, Todd, he's going to wrap up this championship with 4 races to go, Kyle.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And I'm going to say something. They had a great crowd there last night.
Yes.
For a standalone truck race, had a great crowd there. But Todd has just dominated the series. You know, we've gone through times when Hornaday has or when Skinner has. Now seems to be Todd's time.
Look at this point lead.
231 over Eric Almirola. Timothy Peters, the Daytona winner, is up there as well. Austin Dillon in the number 3 truck rounds out your top 5. And a couple of old veterans back up there with a couple of new guys. Ron Hornaday, Matt Crafton, Skinner Starr, and Jason White round out your top 10. And Wednesday, NASCAR's toughest trucks bump, beat, and bang their way around the world's fastest half mile. Kyle Busch won it last year, but don't know who's going to win it this year. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, which features 2 saddlers, Hermie and Elliott, live from Bristol Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed. When we come back, he is Jack, and he is back at the track to the delight of his team. Jack Roush has made an appearance, and we'll hear from him when we come back to NASCAR Race Day. Welcome back to Michigan, everyone. Over the past few decades, this place has been the house of Roush. They have won 11 races, and that ties that organization with Wood Brothers Racing for the lead at this racetrack. Jack is back at the track to the delight of Roush Fenway Racing. And get ready, everybody, because they are running well right now. Now, at age 68, there is no question that Jack Roush is a survivor. He survived 2 car wrecks and 2 plane wrecks. He is back at the track this weekend after being released from a hospital on Wednesday. He may have lost sight in his left eye, but he definitely has not lost his spirit.
On arrival into Oshkosh, Wisconsin, I was put in conflict with the flight path of another airplane close to the ground, and I was unable to address the conflict and keep the airplane flying. And so I ground looped the airplane, and I got a compression fracture in my back. I got some damage to my left eye, and I got damage to my left cheek. And but I'll recover everything but the side of my left eye. I survived 2 car wrecks too, both of them in racing. So, you know, I've been extraordinarily lucky to have been able to survive, and I feel in some ways unworthy. I'm not sure that I've done enough yet for the chances I've had, but maybe that's recognized, and that they're just giving more time.
That is one tough old guy, and there was no better medicine for Jack Roush than to see Greg Biffle win, see the rest of his cars run well on the road course, and now here we are in his own backyard, Kyle. Watch out for those guys today because they have incentive.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's incentive to see Jack, to see him come out of that plane, and then to see him standing on pit road yesterday, and you hear how weak he is in his voice and how he's still struggling with the strength. But it's funny. I love to hear Jack talk because everything is so methodical, the way he goes through it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I got some damage here, and I got some damage. It sounds like he's walking around his race car after a race explaining what's wrong with my race car and why I didn't win a race. But it's incredible. He has been very blessed. A couple of car wrecks. This is a second plane accident, and he loves to fly. I hate that for him, that he lost his left eye, but I mean, because he does love flying.
And I do not mean to make fun of the situation, but they always say a cat has 9 lives. This is incredible, race fans. This guy, you know, I've met Jack, you know, several times and spent a lot of time with him. And, you know, he's got this fun side that we never see. But I got to tell you, he truly is tough.
That's tough.
I mean, race fans, this guy's tough. He wrecked a plane in water and was lucky enough for some diver to save his life. Then he wrecks again, and I'm so happy that you're alive. I really am.
Yeah.
Good job, Jack. You're here.
Simply is not Jack's time to go, and we're glad about that. Great to see him at the racetrack. And, Jack, we wish you a speedy, full recovery. So Jack is back at the track, but when we come back to NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, we're going to tell you about a big week on tap and what's coming up in our near future.
Where better to find the way to a Michigan win than asking the last guy who took checkered here? Denny drops by to talk about his June victory, today's forecast, and whether he can put the lockdown on another Chase appearance. Around the Turn, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Sparks Park is the home of the Cascades and Cascade Falls in Jackson, Michigan. They're a very beautiful local attraction. This man-made waterfall thrills visitors from across the globe with 6 immense fountains, 3 reflecting pools, 16 falls, 11 of which are illuminated with over 1,000 multicolored electric lights. If you're coming to the racetrack, that is a great place to stop off among many beautiful water features in and around the Brooklyn, Michigan area. Well, we've got 400 miles of racing here today at Michigan on a very big track, but then the scene will shift to a very small track at the Bristol Motor Speedway in Thunder Valley, Tennessee. It's going to be a big week, and that night race at Bristol is one of the most sought-after tickets on the Sprint Cup Series, so we sent Dave Despain on assignment.
One driver in particular shined brightest under the new lights at Bristol. Some fans loved him, some hated him. But Darrell Waltrip, driving Junior Johnson Chevy, was in a class by himself.
You're moving into the 80s. You know, you had this guy, this brash guy who would say, you know, loves to tell the story that would stop at the gate and they would say, "Are you with the show?" And he would say, "Man, I am the show."
Your new slogan, tell us about it.
Follow me in Tennessee.
Well, we can believe that.
I remember when DW won like 7 straight races here in the early 80s. It kind of got boring when you come for 3.5 years and DW won every race.
That's 3,500 laps that you ran without a problem at Bristol. That's hard to do. That's the toughest racetrack you go to win, physically, mechanically, the whole 9 yards. It's all got to work for you, and I just had a knack for getting around that joint.
Darrell Waltrip, during my tenure at Bristol, in a word, I probably wanted to choke him. I was going to have this beautiful gallery of portraits with all these guys in Victory Lane. And then along came DW.
He said, "Man, when the race is over with, I'm the president of the track. I'll be to go to Victory Circle, and I'll be able to present trophies to Bobby Allison and Richard Petty and Cale Yarborough and all these famous drivers."
I finally got to the point of saying, "Okay, Uncle, I understand. Darrell owns the track. I just pay the mortgage."
Yeah, that was about right. You can catch the rest of Dave Despain on assignment, 8 o'clock Monday. It's all part of the big old Bristol week we got heading into that night race, and tickets are still available for the Bristol night race. If you've always wanted to see it, now is your chance to get a ticket. They are not sold out yet, but they're going fast. Friday's a big, long day. Saturday, 7 a.m., we have the Racing Chef, and then 5 o'clock, NASCAR Race Day comes to you from Thunder Valley, Tennessee. Sunday, 8 o'clock, NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, wraps everything up, and that is a big weekend of racing coming your way from Bristol. But we still have a lot of racing here from the Michigan International Speedway coming your way with 4 races to go before the chase. We're going to talk to some of the guys on the outside looking in and talk to them about their plans on how they're going to break in.
Denny dominated here in June for his 5th and last win of the year. And we'll try our voodoo magic to help the 11 get back to victory lane by strolling down memory lane. We're heading back to Hamlin's MIS Triumph to see how he tamed the D. Heading your way, NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
The last time we raced here at Michigan, Denny Hamlin coined the phrase, "All we do is win, boys." And at that point, that's all they were doing was winning. It was his 5th victory of the season. Now, Denny Hamlin hasn't been back to victory lane since that day here in Michigan, but if there's any place he could repeat the magic, it would be on this big track.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is in the Irish Hills of Michigan today, not too far from Detroit.
There's so much racing room here. That's the biggest thing. It takes a lot of horsepower. It takes a good car to get around this place, but there's so much room to race. There's lots of grooves to choose from. You start searching the racetrack, and you find a place where your race car will work.
All right, guys, let's have a good one here. Middle of the summer starting to come. Important months, man. Got to keep stepping it up here every week. Give you all I got all race long.
Just be there at the end. We'll get us a good solid finish. Head for the win here. Guys in the pits, just give me your A game all day long.
We are green at Michigan. The first
first few laps of the race at Michigan is trying to get in your place where you want to run.
The race within the race. These three cars have been going at it for a while.
The 11 car really is working pretty nice on the bottom. He dives in this corner. You see him go down the front stretch here. And as they get to the first corner, the 39 and the 24 are up. He goes down.
Gosh, the 11th is flying.
Hey, he's got everybody covered right now. Hang in there.
And the 11, Denny Hamlin, he's away.
No fuel pressure.
Uh-oh, no
Problems
fuel
for
pressure.
Hamlin.
Still running. It may have picked up air in the pit.
Ooh, that's going to cost him the lead.
Pick back up now. All right, we'll make that up.
Denny Hamlin lost the ground exiting pit road, but Hamlin back up running strong and gaining those spots back.
All right, buddy. You're the man. Go after him here.
And here's Kane with a huge head of steam off turn 4.
Casey Kane inches it in low groove. He's going to put the nose out in front. Casey Kane gets it done at the exit of turn number 2.
The 83 of Casey Mears into his teammate, the 82 of Scott Speed.
I mean, really, we're running like in the very back of the pack like crap, and we're going to wreck each other? Really?
New race leader in this afternoon's 400-mile event at Michigan, Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Denny's he's been the class of the field so far.
Our last time.
You're still pulling away. 6 seconds over P2.
And now Kyle Busch slaps the wall at turn number 2.
His air pushed me right in the fence. Way to go, bud. Thanks.
And you say red hot. That describes Denny Hamlin and the FedEx Toyota team as they score their 5th win of the year today.
All we do is win, baby.
Good job, guys. Way to hang in there, Kurt. We just missed it a little bit there. Sorry about that, bud.
It was victory lane for Denny Hamlin 9 weeks ago. How quickly things can change, Denny, because we return here to Michigan, and I wish I could say your car is exactly the same, but we are well aware it is not. What is going through your mind for today?
Need a miracle. The skies have opened, so I'm hoping for a miracle. No, it's just struggle with speed of our car. Our balance has not been far off, and you know, I've had my balance a little bit further off than what it was in practice over the last few days, and I won with it here in June. So, you know, we just are struggling. There's only 2 things that make speed, and that's horsepower and downforce, and I feel like we need both of them.
Now, we saw something odd in practice yesterday. You and your teammate Kyle Busch swapped race cars. So what did you learn getting in the 18 car, and what did Kyle learn getting out of the 11? I bet that was an interesting meeting afterwards.
It was. We learned that there's no difference between either one of us. We get in each other's car and runs the exact same speed. So it's just the limits of our race car. We're going as hard as we can go. I wish, for my fans' sake, that I had something better to give them, but it's just running as hard as I can, and we'll see what we can get out of today. We're optimistic. The conditions are a lot different today than what they were during practice, so handling will be more of an issue today than what the horsepower and whatnot will be. So hopefully we can overcome that today.
What are we expecting in today's race? Obviously a wide racetrack. Everybody likes a different line here. I can't figure out a particular line on any one driver. So what is the key for you today?
Well, just to hopefully maybe get a caution or something somewhere in the beginning stage of the races, to where maybe we can play some kind of tire strategy, track position or something to get those positions back, because all my fellow drivers know when you start 33rd or something like that, it takes all race to get back up to the front, even if you do have a good car. So we'll see what we got today, but I'm optimistic, somewhat.
Somewhat. Well, we are too. Just as Denny Hamlin mentioned, he'll have a long day. He will start 33rd. Johnny?
And Wendy, here's good news for Denny Hamlin and his fans. Mark Martin once won this race, and he started in the 32nd position, so you can come from the back to the front here at Michigan. And hey, race fans, Sponsifier is back, and it's a way you can get involved with your favorite Toyota racing team. But time is running out to enter your NASCAR Sprint Cup car design during Toyota Racing Sponsifier 2 Design Contest. Visit toyotaracing.com today and create your masterpiece for a chance to win hundreds of cool prizes. But hurry, the deadline for submissions is Friday, August 20th. Sponsifier only at toyotaracing.com. Ryan Newman is one of the guys on the outside looking in of the chase. How's he going to get in? We'll ask him when we come back. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Race Day. Built by the Home Depot, we're coming to you live from the Michigan International Speedway with 18 degrees of banking. This track is not very high bank. In fact, it's practically flat, but it is flat out fast. We're in the shadow of Detroit, the Motor City, and manufacturers' bragging rights are on the line. There is room to race on this track and room perhaps for Juan Pablo Montoya to go back-to-back after winning on the road course at Watkins Glen to claim his first ever oval win of his career after getting his second at Watkins Glen. No reason why that couldn't happen, and no reason why Kasey Kahne can't get it done from the pole. That is the most productive starting position at this track in the history of Sprint Cup racing here, and Kasey Kahne will lead us to the green flag. Mark Martin is in. Clint Bowyer is out of the top 12 right now, but only by 10 points, and not too many points separate the rest of the guys on the outside looking in, trying to bust in the top 12 because it is a matter of relevance. If you're in the top 12, you're relevant. If you're out, you are irrelevant. And today, 400 miles of racing at Michigan could have a lot to do with who is in and who is out. Kevin Harvick has the lead. Jeff Gordon also has an opportunity with a good run today to secure a spot mathematically in the chase, and that could mean big things over the next 3 races because they can do whatever they want. Right now, Greg Biffle and Mark Martin are in control of the 11th and 12th places, but look at how close Clint Bowyer is. Ryan Newman not too far behind. McMurray and Earnhardt Jr., Kasey Kahne are all still within 1 race worth of points in terms of getting themselves back into the chase. Now, we said it's a matter of relevance. If you're outside the top 12, the last 10 races of the season, not too many people want to talk to you, and that's why these guys are all busting to get in the top 12.
This year, you know, we have got to continue, you know, to build momentum quickly if we make the chase to be relative once we get in. And that's what's important to us. You know, I think that to all of us, I think at the 5 car, it's more important for us to get on track than anything else. You know, than making the chase and just floundering around is not what we want to do. You know, we would like to make the chase and peak at the right time and actually be a contender.
Really, our biggest obstacle is ourselves, you know, and just not beating ourselves. I mean, we've had fast race cars all year and just had crummy luck. I mean, if it isn't one thing, it's the other. We've been running up front on, you know, I can count a dozen occasions where we should have had probably a top 5 run and ended up, 25th. It's definitely been a season of ups and downs, but I mean, our cars are plenty capable of getting the job done and putting ourselves in the chase. We just got to get some of this stuff behind us and rattle off some of these finishes like we deserve.
I mean, I feel like it's not impossible. I remember it just seemed like it was 6 races ago that we had just passed Carl for 12th, and now he's 300 points ahead of us. So, I mean, the points are there if you can get the car going and you can get it done. The problem is that if we just keep running like we're running, that ain't going to get it done. But we do got some good tracks coming up, and if we can capitalize, we can go into Richmond with a real legitimate opportunity.
In the last 4 races, Ryan Newman has picked up 2 positions in points. He's all the way up to 14th. And Hermie Sadler, if he can do that over the course of the next 4 races, he'll be in the chase.
He will. And JR, I want to make sure that I get this straight. John Roberts, I think he said, if you're not in the top 12, you're irrelevant. So right now, you're irrelevant until you get in the top 12. Is that what you said, JR?
Well, not particularly. I meant after 10 races. Tell Ryan I do not think he's irrelevant, please.
Okay. JR wants to clear that up. He thinks you're very relevant and working your way into the top 12. But in all seriousness, 4 races to go to get this car in the top 12. But a couple of decent finishes. I know you want to keep improving on that.
Yeah, it's good that you clarified that because I was going to go a different direction. But now that you've are you gonna
tell me how irrelevant I am?
No, I was gonna tell JR how irrelevant he might have been, but not now. No, I think it's it's obviously very important. Our goal is to win the championship. In order to win the championship, you got to make the chase, and we're outside looking in, but we're within reach. So just doing what we can with the Tornado Chevrolet to put ourselves in position. We've got a good race car this weekend, and it's tough. I mean, we don't want to be in this position, but we're happy we're in this position because there's several guys that aren't, that are even farther out than us.
How about this racetrack today? It's sun is out. It's going to be quite a bit hotter than any time we've seen on the racetrack this weekend. In your experience, what's that mean for this racetrack?
it just loses grip. And when you lose grip, when you're trying to get 850 horsepower to the ground, you fight the forward. And we made some changes with our race car to try to help with what we thought the conditions were going to be, and we'll see if those calls paid off.
And what have you got to do in the race today? Look at the guys you're around, or just run your race and try to get the best possible finish that you can?
Same thing we done with everyone before. Try to win it. If you can't win it, try to finish second, and so on. So take the best position we can, and whatever strategy we need to try to get that track position, and hopefully we're there in the end.
Well, these guys have one win so far this season at Phoenix, and this is a good track for Ryan. He's been on the pole here and been to victory lane. He'll try to do it again today. Johnny?
Hermie, thanks a lot. Let's clarify just how relevant Ryan Newman is. He's won on this track twice before. And, the trend is going in the right direction for Ryan. Last 4 races, he's picked up 2 spots. Next 4 races, if he picks up 2 more, he's going to be in the chase, but that's easier said than done.
You still have to finish these races. Listen to this, race fans. Your winningest drivers of the year, Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin, are 5th and 6th in the points with 5 wins. Guys that have only won 1 and 2 races all year long are ahead of them. You have to finish the race. Kyle, last week at Watkins Glen, Clint Boyer broke apart.
Yes.
He's out, and that puts Mark Martin in. Your equipment cannot fail you.
Yeah, and I'll say this, 5 or 6 races with 6 races left. There's 4 races left now. But with 6 or 7 races, we were talking about Truex Montoya and David Ruderman. We're not even mentioning them here this morning because we're already moving that number forward. We're getting ready to be talking about Casey and Junior. Now, we're going to talk about Junior, whether he's 35th in points or not, so let's be honest about that. It doesn't make any difference. We're going to talk about it. But Newman's right inside that cusp right now with 4 races to go. I think you look at 13th, 14th, 15th, they've still got a shot. But with each passing week, when we get to next week and there's 3 to go, knock 1 off. When we get to 2 to go, knock 1 off, because there's only going to be 1 guy when we get to Richmond that's going to have a shot of getting in.
You know the reason I want to watch NASCAR today and next week? Because today I think, might come down to gas mileage. Will your man get in or get out? I want to watch next week because they might wreck. So this championship chase is far from over. The next 2 weeks, there's drama playing out left and right. So, man, I just can't wait to see till we get down to the end of this and all of a sudden somebody's got a 10-second lead. They run out of gas. Then next week, your hero is running good, and boom, he gets into a wreck. You can never turn your back on this sport. It changes in a heartbeat.
And this might be the last track before we have the chase cutoff that a driver's fortune is really in his hands, because we have Bristol, Richmond, Atlanta. A lot of strange things can happen there, but then again, strange things can happen here at Michigan as well. And when we come back, we'll take a hard look at this racetrack and see exactly what might go on, and perhaps could the Blue Deuce make it to the victory lane. Well, to put it very simply, to win at Michigan, your car has to be absolutely perfect. Welcome back, everyone, to NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot. And there you get a good shot at the backstretch to see just how big and flat this racetrack is. Let's jump up inside car number 31 with driver Jeff Burton and go for a couple of hot laps around this place. And, guys, you get a sense of the speed right away.
Yeah, this is a really fast track. Down the front straightaway. Let's listen to the throttle.
Back in quick.
Kyle, it seems like this racetrack is favoring the high side more and more every year.
Yeah, it's more and more every year. And I think since we went to this car and to the gear rule and a lot of things, it has. The racetrack has moved. And the grip's still at the top. And you see Burton right here. He's going in really up high. And look, there'll be 2 gut wide on the outside of him right here if he runs here during the race. But this is a pretty smooth racetrack. You can see from this, there's some bumps in it. You see the undulation there as the thing just kind of bops up and down. But it is a fairly smooth racetrack, and if you get in the middle of the corner and your car really works well, you know how it is, Kenny. You can cut down to the bottom to get under somebody.
I want you fans to pay attention to the black marks. They use a sealer to seal these cracks. This is up here in the Great North, and the winters are really rough on this racetrack. You can actually put your right front or your right rear in some of those black tar strips, and your car will wiggle around. Look at those strips there.
Yeah, because the tricks, if you have that in your driveway, if anybody's ever put a sealer on their driveway or tried to seal cracks, you know how gummy and tacky it gets.
Slick.
And when you get in it, these cars will take off. And remember, they're taking off at 170 or 80 miles an hour. It takes your breath sometimes.
And it's really hot today, so this will be a slippery and a slower pace today.
And it looked like a very fast lap. You know, you're talking about a 2-mile lap, but when you're going that fast, you get around this place pretty quickly.
I think one thing that people don't understand about this racetrack is even from the overview, when you see the overhead camera, it's so much corner. There's so much corner in this racetrack. I know when I used to drive many years ago for the Wood Brothers, Leonard would turn the oil pressure up because you spent so much time in the corner. All the oil would want to swing away or slide away from the cam bearings and from the crank bearings, and you knock the bearings out of these things. They don't have those issues now, but there's so much corner here.
And listening to Denny Hamlin today, I like what Denny Hamlin said. He says, you know, my car's handling just the way it did when I won races here, but I don't have any speed. With this big old racetrack, you have to have that mixture of speed to where all of a sudden you just go underneath somebody, you hit the gas and you're passing them. It's not always about handling. So this is an interesting racetrack because it's so much of a corner.
Well, Kenny, this is one of the very few racetracks where Jimmy Johnson, the number 48 team, does not have a victory. That could all change today.
What did you say?
I said Jimmy Johnson has never won at this racetrack
Wow.
before. Believe it or not, it's true. And the number 48 team, if their strategy is right, could check this one off the list today. So let's go to the Chad Knaus, for our Sunoco Pit Strategy of the Week.
So we were here in Michigan just a few short weeks ago, but with completely different weather conditions. It's going to be very, very hot and very muggy. So I think you're going to lose a lot of grip around this 2-mile oval. And I think that's going to change your fuel mileage dramatically. You're going to see anywhere from 42 to maybe 43 laps on a Sunoco fuel run. And we all know how important your fuel mileage is here at this racetrack. I think you're going to see the guys at the end of the race really focus on that 43 lap to go mark and try to get that ever valuable track position. What you want to do is you want to say, okay, guys, we've got 43 laps to go. We want to come in, top off with fuel at this point. So in case we do come down pit road for any other adjustments, we can have a fast pit stop. Maybe a 2-tire stop, or maybe just a quick chassis adjustment to maintain your track position to try to stay out front. Because aerodynamics, fuel mileage, and track position, that's what's going to win this race.
Chad, thanks a lot. Anything can and will happen towards the end of this race. After the checkered flag is waved, be sure to check out NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, and catch all of the race highlights and raw emotion straight from Victory Lane. Also, go to speed.com, keyword Sunoco, to enter for your chance to win an autographed flag signed by the winner of today's race. We will talk to a big winner when we come back. He's a Michigander who hit it big in front of his hometown crowd yesterday. BK12, BK22, whatever you want to call him, he's with us next.
Saturday, the fastest 43 head to the fastest half mile. And a race in Thunder Valley always gets tempers boiling. With a chase right around the corner, cooler heads must prevail. Who keeps their emotions in check and tastes victory? Live from Bristol, under the lights at 5 p.m., NASCAR Race Day, built by the Home Depot.
Right now, Brad Keselowski is the heavyweight champion, if you will, of the Nationwide Series with a big points lead and a victory yesterday. Now the big question is, can he get it done in the Cup race today? Let's go to Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm sure Brad Keselowski wants to get back to Victory Lane 2 days in a row, especially being your hometown. Rochester Hill's not too far from here. How good does it feel to come back to Michigan? I know I feel like I chat to you every time we come to Michigan, but it's got to be a good feeling, especially when you get to Victory Lane yesterday.
Yeah, you know, winning is, that's the ultimate. And to do it at home in front of your friends and family and, all the people that supported you throughout the years and got me to where I'm at now, it's a way of showing some respect back to them and showing that all the hard work was not for naught, and just couldn't be here without them. So it's cool to do it in front of them.
And you've had a busy week, not only trying to focus on your Cup car for today's race, but also just being here, a lot of events. How busy is it, and how do you sort this all out in your head, Brad?
It's really hard. I mean, there's crazy, here, there, and then do TV, and just try to keep in mind that I'm very fortunate to be here, to be in this position in the sport, and to have fast race cars, and to be leading the nationwide points, and have sponsors like Discount Tire, next year Miller Lite. Just things are going great.
All right, now I can't help but notice your checkered flag foundation shirt that you're wearing, Brad Keselowski's. This is a new foundation. This is the new thing. Drivers are starting these foundations, but yours is a little bit different. Talk about what you guys are doing.
Well, like a lot of things I do it a little bit differently. So I guess it kind of goes right in line with that. But had my first event for the Checkered Flag Foundation, and this weekend we dedicated it to the Wounded Warriors, which naturally is soldiers who've come back from Iraq and Afghanistan and, are permanently disabled. So bought them a bunch of tickets and a bus to come watch the race this week, and got a bunch of them out there today. They're going to be watching, and just the smile on their faces to be able to get them to the racetrack when they're going through hard times and, quite honestly, either couldn't afford or couldn't find their way to get here. And for them to be able to come out and have a great time, it just warms my heart.
All right, well, if you weren't a Brad Keselowski fan before then that's reason alone to become a BK fan. Let's head over to my good friend, Hermie Sadler.
Well, thank you, Wendy, and spending some time with today's Grand Marshal, Evander Holyfield. First of all, welcome to Michigan. Thanks for being here. And what are your duties for the day going to be here at Michigan?
Well, I'm tell the gentlemen to start their races.
And you're going to give the command. How about the national anthem? You going to try to sing that?
Well, I'm not going to do that. I don't sing that well, so, but no.
You're not going to do that today. Now, listen, I know standing here, I don't look like much. I understand that. But I want you to take a look at some video here in our camera, Evander. Look at me working out right here. I do various calisthenics and, kickboxing and all this kind of stuff. And as you can tell, I'm in really good shape. Now, after you've seen that video, does that intimidate you in any way to be standing close to me?
Not really.
Okay. Well, another subject then. You got a fight coming up, November the 5th, right here in Michigan at Joe Louis Arena. Tell us about your objects of getting back in the ring, and I know your goal is to be undisputed heavyweight champion again.
Well, yeah, I look forward to fighting here in Detroit, but I'm really fighting for the hunger, and it was give the people another opportunity to be the very best they could be.
And you talk about you guys may be interested in the future getting involved in NASCAR, maybe with a race car on the track?
Yes, the most important thing is to encourage people in the program, and as you see that, with Dodge, you get the opportunity to be the very best you could be.
Well, that's Evander Holyfield. Thank you for being here. He's also here on behalf of Forgotten Harvest. Walgreens is involved in the race to fight hunger. And again, you can see Evander November the 5th as he tries to make his way back to the top and get that title once again. JR?
Hey, Hermie, I hate to do this to you, old buddy. It was great to see the champ, but we got to see that workout video again because that was really funny. It didn't really intimidate us at all, but I like the headband. I like seeing an old guy like myself work out. Let's see, Hermie. Looking pretty good, huh?
That's impressive right there. I don't care.
Various calisthenics.
I don't care.
You know what Schrader would say? Kenny Schrader would say, you know what, Hermie makes me feel good about myself.
That's like Richard Simmons sweating to the oldies.
Yeah, we all started a workout program.
I'm sorry.
Our workout program is switching to light beer.
But
there you go, buddy.
But let me tell you something. I told Hermie Sadler earlier this morning, I said, don't let me down, buddy. I said, do something wild. Great job.
Great job. That was a great job.
I thought Evander Holyfield was going to hit him in the face.
I thought he was going to beat him up.
I was scared for Hermie Sadler for a minute.
But if he didn't beat up Hammond on Friday, he's not going to beat up Hermie today.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Now, race fans, had you been with us for the NASCAR Race Hub from Charlotte during the week, here's what you would have seen. On Monday, we took you behind the scenes on a shop tour of Joe Gibbs Racing from J.D. Gibbs. He took us around and showed us the inner workings of Joe Gibbs Racing and how they get it done. The Roush drivers, David Reagan, Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, and Carl Edwards took us on a tour of Roush Fenway Racing on Tuesday. And also Wednesday, Kurt Busch gave us a personal shop tour, and we also had a chance to talk to Sam Hornish as well. And on Thursday, we wrapped up our hometown shop tour at Hendrick Motorsports as the crew chiefs showed us the inner workings of one of the true super teams of NASCAR. And tomorrow night, only one NASCAR show delivers the drivers, the crew chiefs, the latest news and information, and expert analysis from the epicenter of NASCAR Nation, Charlotte, North Carolina. Don't miss a full hour of NASCAR Race Hub presented by Hooters tomorrow night at 7 Eastern, only on Speed. When we come back, we will put our money where our mouths is. And you know what? Now that we're all fired up with Hermie, the real fight is on. It's called the Sunoco Performance Picks, and I still am not intimidated.
Is that Hermie or Fred Sanford?
NASCAR Race Day is built by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. Brought to you in part by Allstate. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects the rider like Allstate. Are you in good hands? And by the General Automobile Insurance Services. For the best car insurance rates in town, call 1-800-GENERAL now.
The University of Michigan at Ann Arbor is a public research university and also one of the prettiest campuses anywhere in the country. Founded in 1817, it's the state's oldest university and the flagship campus of the University of Michigan. It also includes 2 regional campuses. University of Michigan is one of the top universities in the world, a diverse public institution fostering excellence in research. And they also have pretty good sports up there as well. But if you think that Appalachian State University could not beat Michigan, you might think that we could not beat Kyle Petty. If you look at the standings, right, and that happened. That happened. So we can definitely knock off Kyle Petty because he only has a 116-point lead on Kenny Wallace. And, well, you know, Hermie, well, we'll talk about Hermie a little bit later on. Right now, let's have Kyle start us out with the first of the Sunoco performance picks. KP.
Oh, look at that. Okay, here's my performance pick. My performance pick this week is Jeff Gordon, new family member. Okay, he's got a new family. Here's the deal. This is going to start his season. His drive for 5 starts right here at Michigan. He wins here. He goes on to win the championship, Jeff Gordon.
And congratulations to Jeff and Ingrid on young Leo Benjamin, I believe. Leo Benjamin.
You know what I was, hold on. You know what I was told today? I was told that Kenny Wallace, you're interesting and informative if you wouldn't act like a clown so much. Well, let me just tell you, you're not going to take the clown out of me, baby.
I love that.
So, here's who's going to win the race today. This man's teammate, Greg Biffle.
That was a good fake.
I couldn't turn this hat down. It was
I know.
too cool. So, let me see here. Oh, this guy's behind me, JR.
Yes, I'm behind, but not by much. You know, it's a good idea to stick with the Biff, but you know what? Any given day, Jimmy Johnson's going to check another one of those races off his list, and this is the day that Jimmy Johnson finally conquers Michigan. They've been so close so many times before. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's got the smartest guy in the business on top of the pit box. They will get it done today and have the proper strategy. Wendy Venturini.
Only on NASCAR Race Day do we give the stats of the day and all the latest news, and you get a duck on Kenny Wallace's head. I love you, Kenny.
Yes.
I'm telling you, stick with us, fans.
Wendy,
yes, Kenny.
I was way too serious all day long. I had to bring some
You have been. Are you okay? Are you feeling all right? You must be ill.
No, I feel really good.
Well, somebody's ill because nobody took our points leader, Kevin Harvick, and it's who I'm going with today at Michigan. I think Kevin Harvick is going to get to victory lane here at Michigan and keep his points lead and get me some bonus points because Hermie Sadler, we know that we are struggling in this fantasy picks this year.
Yeah, Wendy, you're struggling, but guess what? I was told this morning if I didn't get back within 400 points of Kyle Petty, I wasn't even going to qualify to play the game when we got to the chase here on race day, so I got some work to do. How am I going to remedy that? I'm taking Carl Edwards. The Roush Fenway cars are getting better. They got a good record here, and Carl Edwards has 10 top 10s and 12 starts here at Michigan. Johnny?
And Hermie, pretty soon we could mathematically eliminate you from our contest. So hopefully Carl has a good run for Hermie because we want Hermie to still compete.
Would Hermie become irrelevant?
I believe so. He would, yeah. Hermie will be eligible for the chase, we're just told, because we want to keep him in the game because we like Hermie, even if he's way behind. But here's a couple things to take a look at today. Anything can and will happen towards the end of this race. If you're here, stay to the end. If you're watching on TV, don't go away because anything can and will happen.
We talk so many times about how cautions change the outcome of a race and how a race is adjusted by where cautions are placed. This is a place where we may have no cautions. So no cautions will have a huge outcome in how a race is played out.
And a lot of people say, how is Michigan so interesting? Well, because you go down into the corner and are 3 and 4 wide. And then on top of that, for some reason, this racetrack is very legendary for never knowing the finish. A lot of other tracks, you can pretty much know what's going to happen. This racetrack right here, you never know, so stay tuned.
Here's something that I read earlier on in the week. The last race here at Michigan, although it was a 400-miler and it can be a long race, the race itself here at Michigan was shorter than the pothole delay at Daytona at the 500.
That's good.
How's that for a stat
That's
for
big.
you?
That's huge.
That's huge.
That's huge.
So it can go really fast. Before you know it, you're in the end.
You're at the end.
Well, I got to say that this is a big race today because there's only 4 races left to decide if your driver is going to have a chance to win the championship. So, I mean, will he run out of gas? Will he blow a motor? What will happen? Stay tuned.
Wendy Venturini is in the middle of it all and has more for us from the inside the track. Wendy?
Yeah, when I walk down pit road here, Johnny, it's interesting. Last week's winner, Juan Pablo Montoya, can he make it 2 weekends in a row? I know they are fighting between he and the one car trying to get these victories. How about Clint Boyer, 10 points out of the top 12, right behind Mark Martin. They've been swapping for the top 12. And who's on the pole this weekend? It's Casey Kane, trying to get another win for Dodge before he switches over to Toyota next year. Can't forget our former champion here, Jimmy Johnson. There's a lot of cars and a lot on the line. Everybody has a lot of different strategies. It's going to be interesting today as we get down to these final 4 races to that chase cutoff. I can't wait. Hermie?
Yeah, thank you, Wendy. And race fans, if you want to have something to follow when the green flag falls today, look at this 88 car. He starts 38th. Look at the 24 car of Jeff Gordon, 36. And guess who won here in June? Denny Hamlin, 33rd. These guys have a lot of ground to make up on this racetrack once the green flag drops, and we have a completely different racetrack today than what we had Friday and Saturday here at Michigan. The sun is out, the racetrack is hot, slick, and greasy, but these guys, we did not expect them to qualify in the back. It'll be fun to see how far they can get early on here at Michigan. Johnny?
Hermie, thanks a lot. And friendly rivalries are always great for sports. You saw a very friendly but confident smile across the face of all the Toyota people last time we raced here because Denny Hamlin put a Toyota in victory lane right down the road from the Big Three.
And race fans, there's a friendly rivalry going on right now that a lot of people aren't paying attention to it. Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin are tied with 5 wins, Kyle. I mean, can one of those get to the 6th win, and will they go into the chase with the point lead?
Yeah, and it's just like you said, there's a lot of rivalries going out there, but we saw some footage here on race day of Clint Boyer and Mark Martin talking in their car together. And you wonder what they're talking about? They're friendly here, but when they get out on the racetrack, I'm telling you, man, they're snatching jugulars from each other. They're going for blood. But it is friendly right now. Let's get to the chase and see how friendly it is.
No such thing as friends out on the racetrack.
No.
You know what? My brother Rusty used to say, what are you out there in the motorhome lot talking to all those drivers? I'm like, well, they're my friends. No, they're out to get you. Don't talk to those drivers because they're trying to get you. I'm like, what do you mean, Rusty? Yeah. They try to get you. Don't talk to nobody. Sit in your motorhome and eat ice cream.
Well, they're trying to beat you when it gets on. And it'll be no eating of ice cream out on the racetrack today, maybe around the racetrack, because it is pretty warm today. We got sunny skies around the racetrack right now, and we're looking forward to a great race here at the Michigan International Speedway. 400 miles of racing, and only one driver will bring it home to victory lane tonight. See you so long, everybody.